You feel like you're on cloud 9 when you're playing against certain control decks because they just give you all the time in the world. So we'll see if that plays out. And of course, the ban kind of factors into that in a very big way. But let's talk about these two players here and what they're fielding. Go ahead and kick us off, Exo.
Sure. So we actually, like I said, get to see very different decks than we saw. Yes, we saw Aggro Sword yesterday, but today Iseestars is bringing like literal million 1-drops and just support to just do as much damage. I don't think he plays anything over cost 6 and just a single Alwita's command. And just to go aggressive is crazy. And then Piao over on the other side is running Aegis Haven finally. This is our first iteration we get to see in competitive play with, of course, Aether of the White Wing to pull out a nice little toolbox. And he's playing PTP Forest, which is a lot different than all the Forest decks we saw yesterday. So as we see it kick off, Envy, with Iseestars' hand here and the aggression that he's showing, do you think he has a pretty good shot here against Piao in this first game?
I mean, I don't know. It's looking good for him right now, obviously. But
that's how it
Piao
always
has
does.
Cleric Lancer into White Wing pulling Cleric Lancers. So, and if he wants to, Themis on 6. So, I don't know. I mean, the Snow White can clear 2 dudes, and after that,
That's
I mean,
true.
you got
That's
Ephemera,
kind of how the aggro sword decks feel, right? Like you have this big boatload of steam in the first couple turns, but if that steam like basically goes away, you have to just draw your storm followers for the rest of the game to finish them off.
Exactly.
And Piao, like you said, has Cleric Lancer in his deck. We haven't seen Cleric Lancer in competitive play yet, and with Aether of the White Wing, talk to us about why that's a good strategy. I heard you talking to me about that a little bit before the stream. What do you think about that thing?
So Cleric Lancer is, just so for anybody who doesn't know, honestly, I might get the stats wrong. It's a basic set card, I think, or standard set card. It is a 5 play point 1/6 or 1/7, I think. Yeah, 1/6 base stats. But on your opponent's turn, gains 3 attack. And it has ward.
I think it's more. I think it's like 4 or 5.
Is it 4?
It's something
4
ridiculous.
attack? Yeah, see,
it's
look at that. It's such an old card that literally nobody plays.
Right. Right.
And then it has ward, obviously great stuff for, against aggro decks. And then Aether of the White Wing is a new card from Starforged Legends. It's a 6 play point 1/3 that will pull, it's a very oddly named, oddly worded effect. It pulls a random Havencraft follower from your deck equal to the highest, it's like the highest number of play points below the one you're on. So basically, if you play Aether of the White Wing on 6, then you'll pull Cleric Lancer every time because it's 5. It's 1 less than 6.
If it's the only 5-cost Havencraft follower in your deck, which Piao has built his deck around that card. So that is what is going on here.
Lots of wordy effects here. Lots of words.
That's right. Lots of words. Absolutely.
Long story short, he's looking to put up a wall.
That's right. And it's actually interesting. Piao does not play any 6-drops in his, or I'm sorry, not 6-drops, but 7-drops in his deck to pull. Like no Luxwing Sarissa, nothing like that to kind of muck up the mid game. But he is playing Taurus into actually 3 Aegises alongside of his 3 Aegis or Aether of the White Wing. So definitely looking to get to that Aegis endgame and Cleric Lancers to help him get there.
I mean, if you eventually get to 10 play points, then she pulls Aegis. So
yeah, she does. She does.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. All right, so here we see the wall getting set up.
So has to get rid of the Bane, and he does. Well, Cleric Lancer is still, and now it's beefy. 7/7 with ward.
Super beefy.
But unfortunately, a Bane was just top decked again.
Yes. Council of Card Knights, again, always a card you're happy to see when you're playing Sword off the top. That'll continue the aggression
This council is actually really, really important, too, because it's going to allow him to get in for a lot, and then setting up for Albert next turn.
That's right. So even though Aether of the White Wing could be set up for next turn, and like a singleton Cleric Lancer, I don't think is going to be big enough to really handle this board.
I don't think it is. With Stars even seeing like he can put him down to 3 if he attacks with the Ephemera. Normally people don't let their Ephemera come out of stealth, but putting them to 3, having Albert in hand, knowing Albert will do 3 next turn. So
especially on a Themis turn, like this sets up perfectly because Themis is the best option here. But again, with Piao being at 3 makes it kind of like this impossible situation. So Iseestars knowing how to play against Haven and really showing his dominance with Sword in this first game.
Yep. There's not, because of Ephemera, there's not really anything Piao can do.
And which is, I really want to see what this Igus deck can do. It's unfortunate that it had to play against this really super hyper aggressive sword in game 1, but we'll definitely see it again, I'm assuming, unless he chooses to play PTP Force, and then we don't get to see the Igus Haven again. But Igus was sorely lacking on the European side, and I feel like it's one of the stronger decks right now. Maybe not against this type of sword when you're on the draw, but definitely a good deck overall in the meta.
It is interesting that he chose to ban Dragon and keep Sword, when I would think that Aegis Haven would want to find Dragon. I'm not entirely sure how the Aegis PDK matchup goes, Prime Dragon Keeper matchup goes, but, you know, I would imagine
I would assume better than Sword, because you're board clearing a bunch, which is naturally good against PDK, whereas against Sword, you can board clear all day, but there's still going to be leftover followers to kind of end the game here. So, and that's what we see.
So it took Stars a few seconds there to notice that he still had lethal there, attacking with the I think is it the Club Soldier? I'm not sure which one has Storm, but attacking with that, getting 2 attack, and then Ephemera would have the last damage there. So,
and we made mention of this yesterday. Ephemera is so good right now. Not so good in the last season, but we still saw people playing it. But this season, with the way Sword is shaping up, so much extra damage you see that card putting out every single game.
I mean, realistically, any deck could run Ephemera. She's basically just Sword's Royal Banner, but much better. So
here's another interesting deck that Iseestars presents us with today. So this is a new version of Daria. So this is Daria playing Chain of Calling and playing Concentration. I'm still not sure about the Concentration, but
that is
it
weird,
definitely work. And he's playing Mystic Ring, which I feel like Mystic Ring hasn't really found a great home. It's kind of like a good utility card. But in Daria, it's probably at its best, right? It spell boosts for 1. It puts Oglers and Blade Mages back into your deck so you can redraw them with Daria. It puts Darias back in your deck so you don't double up on them. I feel like this is a nice perfect home for it.
Yeah, Mystic Ring may be a neutral card, but it's very, very well utilized by Runecraft. And see, here he's going to hope he draws a Mystic Ring.
Right, exactly. So with this matchup, I know that Daria used to be kind of 50-50 with Haven just because of the Themis decrees and all that kind of stuff. But with this new version of getting more consistent Darias, do you think that maybe Daria has a chance to pull ahead in the percentage points in this matchup, or do you think it's about the same?
I imagine Aegis will eke out. Daria, especially with a slow start like this, does not have a very good chance against any kind of control deck. So, yeah.
This is interesting. Mystic Rings into Mystic Rings to kind of like help smooth out Iseestars' draw here. I like this. So you say slow, but he's going to be able to Daria as early as next turn before Themis is ready.
True,
and then
he could.
With that Mystic Ring, the ability to redraw into Daria.
It's a pretty good card. Mystic Ring's great.
Pretty good.
That Craig is going to be 3. Yeah.
Doing the math here to see if he can play anything before the Ogler and the Daria. Doesn't want to take the chance to draw into something with the
I imagine, because he could have played the Ooh, oh my gosh. There's no gas in that hand, but ooh. Now this hand is a
follow-up mutagenic bolt, though.
That is true. That is true. It's right before Themis' turn, which makes it probably the most explosive hand he could have gotten. But if this gets handled in any way possible, if something happens to this hand, then he has nothing to fall on.
That's true. There is no backup Darias, no concentration for extra card draw, nothing like that. So this is pretty much it, unless Iseestars can top deck out of it.
I don't think it's going to matter, though. I mean, he has a lot of damage here.
Yes, he does.
A lot.
We actually don't see a Themis in the hand of Piao right now. So if Themis is in top deck,
there's not even a Themis,
this is going to get really dicey. Especially with that mutagenic bolt coming down to basically do whatever it wants to whatever board Piao has left over.
He can put him at 5. Yeah, he's going to put him down to 5. Goes for Themis. And Iseestars is all in here. If Themis actually happens, he has nothing. There's not a Themis, though.
No Themis. So I feel like this will be an Aether turn into the Cleric Lancer to try to do something, but I think even on board that's not good enough.
That's not, because of Mutagenic Bolt. Wow.
And Iseestars just train wrecking with his aggro decks, showing the true power of
Iseestars winning on 6 play points twice. What a...
Yeah.
mean, you said it
pretty
yourself.
insane.
He's an aggro player. Yeah.
That's right. And he's, like I said, this is his best week. I really feel like he's playing to his strengths this week, and it's really paying off. Like, he basically navigated through these matches quite easily without even taking any damage.
That was pretty incredible. It's been a while since I've seen a Daria deck, do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, Daria hasn't done that in a while. Mystic Ring really, really helped with that.
Iseestars with the Mystic Ring. And that's actually a really interesting, mechanic that is introduced with Mystic Ring, because previously, when you draw into your Daria, you're just kind of breaking tables in half and just, I mean, there are so many ways that Daria